Hi, everybody. Mac here, the trauma coach. I want to talk to you about one bit of nuance with the fourth commandment. The fourth commandment is feeling damaged after trauma is normal. The bit of nuance that goes with that is this. I can't be the person I was before all these traumatic experiences. I'm different. They've changed me. And attempting to do that is a fool's errand. What I need to embrace is becoming a better version of that person. So let me tell you how I learned this. I knew the damage was forever. And so I knew the remedy had to be forever. I knew there was no magic pill or form of therapy, that life had one gear, and that was drive. There was no reverse. I couldn't reboot my life, and I certainly couldn't do those things over again. And I was frustrated because people would say, I wish you could just be the way you used to be. And I wanted to, and I was trying, but I was different, and it was so frustrating. And so I knew I had to evolve my behaviors, but these ideas are in my head, and I don't really understand it all. And then I'm watching a documentary that two friends of mine made, Ken and Betty Rodgers. And the documentary is called I Married the War. It's about people who go off to war, and then they bring that war back home. It impacts their relationship with their children and their wife, all these intimate relationships in their life. And they only talk to the spouses. And so I'm watching it. And there's a woman, her husband was a Vietnam veteran. She's talking about a health issue she had. She had to have a heart bypass. And she was frustrated because she said, I was healthy. I exercised. I ate right. And so in her cardiac rehab, there was a psychiatrist. He was an Air Force veteran who had served in Vietnam. And they're talking about stress. And she's talking about work. But then she said, well, my husband, who's a Marine Vietnam veteran, he drinks. And he has an anger problem, and then he gets into it with our kids, and I have to get in between that. And then he and I get into it. So it's always this stress. And the psychiatrist said, you need to talk to him. So she did. And when she was explaining to her husband, he looked at her and got very emotional and said, I have to be a better version of me. I have to be better. I'm going to make that a goal. And here's a picture of them holding my book. And so it's a beautiful story. But when he said that, I have to be a better version of me, a light went on in my head. I said, that's it. I can do that. And if people will help me and teach me, I know I can do that. Now, two things I want you to do. One, go to my website, From Trauma to Joy, look around on that thing, but my book is there. My book is the blueprint on how you do this. So I want you to buy it. Second, like, share, and subscribe to these things. Why? So people will see what you're watching, and maybe they'll check it out, and maybe they'll reach out to you so they can talk about this with you, and you'll get a chance to save their life. And then the final thing is, if you're a person of faith, if you're a spiritual person or somebody who just wants to live a great life, this is the path you need to walk. This is the path of personal transformation.